everybody. Jeff Colson here with Junior Hockey Advisor. We are in our last hour of our 6-hour marathon with Junior Hockey Advisor today. Hey, do me a favor. Jump on in the comments. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're from. Ask me any questions you want. It has been unbelievably fun tonight. We've covered everything from U10, 12, 13 hockey. We covered U18 versus prep hockey. We covered girls hockey. We talked ACHA college club hockey. And we just talked in general about 14s, 16s, and about the decisions you need to make at those ages, priorities across the board. It's been an unbelievable night. For any of you, throw your comments up. Let me know if anybody made more than one or two. If this is your first one, let me know. If this is your second one, let me know. I don't think anybody's crazy enough to spend 3 hours doing this tonight with me. I know for a fact nobody in my house, my dogs didn't even stick around for more than one. So it's been a long night, but it's been fun. It's been an unbelievable experience, and we've been so well received so far tonight. We had some really large crowds, especially on topics and areas that we normally don't draw from, like girls hockey. U10, U12 is not usually our strength with boys hockey. Girls hockey is not usually an area we talk a lot about. But anyway, for those of you who know me, Jeff Colson, Junior Hockey Advisor. We get together every Sunday night. Tonight's a different time because of the marathon, because of all 6 sessions. We moved it back 1 hour, and it is completely open forum tonight. I got a couple things I want to talk about if we don't get any comments coming in, or if we don't get any people that want to discuss anything in general, or you don't have any questions. I've got a few things to talk about. I want to kind of start off. It's something we talked about earlier, which is a really, really big part of any college coach or junior college any junior coach or college coach at any level of college. One of the tools they use across the board, Elite Prospects, eliteprospects.com. If Elite Prospects is not something that's your go-to, if you've got a player that's ascending up, you start getting into the 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, get into junior ranks. If you're not well-versed in, and they're not well-versed in Elite Prospects, you're really missing an opportunity. It is the database that covers everything. You want to know about a team you're interested in? Elite Prospects will tell you a lot of things about it. And I wanted to spend a couple seconds here. I got our first comment that came through. Great to see. Perry's been here. I know, Perry, how many did you go through? I know you're here last one, so you got at least 2 in. Did you get any other sessions in? And you may have already put comments up. I just can't remember because it's been 6 straight hours of this. So, this is my 6th hour, 5 straight hours going into my 6th. So let me know, Perry. Plus, once again, folks, I see we got a large crowd on here. Thank you so much for tuning in, but please let me know where you're from. Throw it in the comments. Tell me if you watched other events. Tell me what you're interested in, what kind of questions. Tell me about your dog if you want to. Do something to keep me rolling. I want to finish strong with this. I want to finish strong for the night. So, all right, Perry, thanks. You got on and off a couple times. Thanks for letting me know that. I knew it'd be very difficult for anybody to stick with me through the whole process. I didn't even want to be around with me for the whole process. I get sick of hearing my voice. Anyway, I'm going to jump on to Elite Prospects and do a little picture-in-picture thing here. And what I want to show you on this, and is the reason I pulled this up, is I want to get this full screen there. Okay, so here's Elite Prospects, and I want to show you a couple things you can do with Elite Prospects that you might not know. Now, I do a video about 3, and you can find the video on both on YouTube, Junior Hockey Advisor YouTube, and you can also find the video on our Facebook page archives. I believe the video is on there, and it's a yellow thumbnail, and it says 3 websites that you must know or you must use if you want to move up and progress in hockey. And this is one of the 3. And I might as well tell you the 3 now. It's no secret. I'm a firm believer that you got to go to College Hockey Inc. And learn that website, because that shows you where all the Division I commitments are going. It tells you about all the rules for recruiting, all the rules for how the NCAA works. It tells you about the clearinghouse. It's just a wealth of information. USA Hockey pays for it via money that comes from the National Hockey League. So the National Hockey League grants money to USA Hockey. USA Hockey funds College Hockey Inc. Take advantage of it. It's a really, really good site. It's well worth taking the time to look at it. With that said, that's one site. Elite Prospects, which we're going to cover right now, is another site. And the third site is college or USCHO, United States. It's USCHO.com. College Hockey something organization. I don't know what it stands for. It's USCHO.com. Why is that important? Well, that is your source of every Division I and Division III team where you get information on them. It tells you all about their schedules, all the news of the updates. When coaches and players transfer, that information's there. It gives you a point of contact for team pages, rosters. Everything's in one site. It's one-stop shopping. If you're putting a list together of college teams that you're interested in and you want to find out information on the team, that's where you want to go. I'm going to stop right now. I want to give you a hint. This is your bonus information for sticking around, Perry. This is that piece of information you get here that you won't find other places. Now, it works a lot of times, and now that I'm telling you, probably they're going to find a way to shut this door down too. So you're interested in a college team. You don't know how to get a hold of the coach. So you want to send out emails, because I tell you on this, you gotta market yourself. You gotta build a team around yourself. You gotta brand yourself. You gotta drip on these college coaches, but you can't get a email for them, because you go on their webpage and it just says click here, and you can send a generic message to the team, or you can sign up because you're interested in the team, but it doesn't give you an email address. So here's your workaround. This is where you get value added tonight. Go to the athletic department part of their web page. So you go onto the school page. Let's say I'm at Penn State, and I'm making this up right now. But go to their athletic department page, and go into their staff directory and just scroll down and find the coach under the staff directory. Most people only look at the hockey page. They don't go into the staff directory. A lot of times what you'll find is two things. One is the email will be there in probably 7 out of 10 opportunities. You'll actually get the coach's email off the staff directory. If they don't have it, look at the other programs and see how the school does their emails. Is it first initial, last name, dot PennStateSports.edu? Whatever it is, in the consistency, then all you have to know is the coaches' names. As long as you know the head coach and the assistant coach's names, you can plug in the same way they use it for all the other coaches, and 9 out of 10 times that works too. So you get that for free. You get what you pay for. So hopefully that helps a little bit. All right, let's see if we got anything coming in first. Scott from Lakemore, Illinois is here. And then Matthew's got a question. I should have screened this first, but I won't. Here's a wild question for you. Already you've piqued my interest because it's a wild question. I hope it's PG. But maybe it's not. As I am now coaching in Argentina and do clinics all over South America. Whoops, it left me. What ways can I help get these young players seen and recognized, knowing we do not have the ability to send them off to the USA and Canada to play? Okay, that's a great question. First of all, Matthew, at the ACHA college club level, people are going to love talking to you, because you open up a door to players that have resources, money. The campuses have resources and money for that Americans and Canadians don't have access to. So you're going to find that there's a uniqueness involved, because maybe there's a Latin American club on the campus that can help fund. There's different things at the ACHA college club level that would absolutely be interesting. Clearly, it's going to be very tough to get any D1 or D3 interest, but there's going to be college club interest. However, putting together a minute and a half video about the players, about the team, about individual players, and building yourself a clip that you put on YouTube, just a minute and a half, and then you send it out to coaches at the ACHA college club level. You got a really unique talent, a real kid that can play. then send it out to some D3 schools too. Who knows? You never know. But that link, don't send them the actual file. Put it up on YouTube. So you put a link in the email. Send them that link of it, and that's like the advice I give everybody anyway. A minute and a half. Don't go crazy, but it's got to tell the story. Where you're at, where you're from, where you're playing. Height, weight, all that stuff's got to be in there real quick. Boom, boom, boom. But have some fun with it. Holy smokes, wouldn't that be great? I would love to be a college coach for an ACHA program and find out that I've got somebody down in South America that's feeding some bodies and some athletes that add a different uniqueness to the campus and uniqueness to the team. That'd be really, really cool. So that's a good question. Thanks for bringing that on. All right, I want to show you again, and keep them coming, folks. I know there's a lot more people than we're getting comments right now. Throw where you're on or where you're watching from, any questions you have. But let me get back on to what Elite Prospects can do for you. A couple things. I want to show you, and this is something most people don't pay attention to on Elite Prospects. I'm going to have to put my glasses on for this so I can actually see the small screen. All right, so now I'm going to pull up, and I don't really care what team I'm looking at, but I'm going to pull up, I'll stay in the null. I'll pull up a North American Hockey League team. And so I've got the null up, and I scroll down. That's not pulling up the null yet. I want to pull up the league information and facts here. I'm on Elite Prospects. And now all night long I've had a full go on speed, and now I'm going to get into a log jam with speed. So sorry about that. Okay, so here's my null roster. I put null into the search engine on Elite Prospects. It pulls up all the rosters. But now, I'm real interested. This Austin team is around the block for me. Not really, but Austin's around the block, and I want to know a little bit about Austin. I pull up Austin. Okay, right off the bat, I can see the roster, and here's the common things that everybody knows. I can see what position the players are, what their players' names are. I can see their birth years. I can see where they're from, height, weight, and what hand they shoot. I can also see who the team captain is, and there's a lot of information there. If I look in the red down here at the bottom, it tells me how many goalies, how many D, how many players they've got. It tells me their average age, height, and weight, which is kind of neat. I can now look and see who's the biggest, who's the oldest, who's the strongest in this league. Kind of a nice feature there. And there's different ways to do that too that I'll show you in a second. But one thing I wanted to show you is now I can go back and I can pull up anybody that looks unique that I want, or, hey, this kid's from Lancaster. He's not very far away because I live in Western New York. So let me find out what path he took to get here. So I pull up Noah. I don't know Noah. I'm just doing this randomly here. But I can see Noah played for the Buffalo Junior Sabres Tier 1 Elite. He played for their U15 Tier 1 Elite. He went to Nichols, which Nichols is a prep school. It's a day prep school. It's not a campus like you live on like some, but they've got a ton of good hockey there. Get their own rink. It's a good program, and he stayed there for a few years. He went from there to the Null, and he played a little bit in the. It looks like he played a little bit in the NA3. Played for the New Jersey, and now he's in Austin. And he's actually found a home, and he's getting some ice time there now. So that's him. But I can pull all that up right away on him. I can also go down and see how he did in each league he played in, and then I can see if there's any career highlights. Here it says he was the most points for a defenseman when he was playing prep hockey in 19 and 20. So not that many games. 11-point guy. It's not something I would say is something that's going to stick out to me as a coach. But I want to show you something else I can do now. Now I can go back to that team, and here's where it gets a little bit fun. I can go back to this team, and I can scroll down a little bit further and get some different facts. Now, once again, I have the premier paid version. What's it cost? $7, $8, $9 a month. I don't know what it pays, but I use it all the time. You might be on the free version, so it might look a little different or be a little different. But if you're looking to move up in the game, I don't know why you wouldn't spend the few bucks a month to have this service. It's just a chock full of information you can learn. Your player can learn about the leagues, the players, the coaches. It's just all there. It's an amazing tool to use. So anyway, now I've got my team staff, and I can pull up information on them. I go over here, and I'm a goalie and I want to know about the goalie coach, I can pull him up. I want to know about the head coach and his background. Look at that, one button, boom. I can hit that button, there he is. And it tells me this team staff history. I go down and it tells me his history as a player. So he actually played in the league, and then he played at SUNY Brockport, and then he went back to juniors, and then he went to play pro hockey, and he had a career in pro hockey, including Europe. So, and then it shows me all of his North American Hockey League experience. He was in the USHL as a coach and as an assistant coach. Got a good solid background. I didn't do this because I was picking on Steve. I just wanted to use this as an example of how to use the system. Now, let's go down a little bit more. Now I can start getting into something. This is my transactions area, and this is the part that's important because it shows me where players are coming from and leaving to. And it's a little bit hard sometimes because, this player may not be leaving for a year or two, but since he committed to RPI, he shows up there right now. It was confirmed on 11/4/20. I don't know about what year this player is or what year he plays there. That's why I would go over to College Hockey Inc. and I would look at College Hockey Inc. to get more details on exactly. And we could get it in other ways too. But I want to go back lower, and we always want to talk about team history. I scroll down, all of a sudden the team history's here. Now I can look just by pulling up the team on Elite Prospects. I've got the history of what they've looked like for the last 10 years. Now, here's another one that's great. Now I can get down a little bit deeper, and I can look in this and say, where do their players go after they leave? Where are they now? So what this does, and it's sorted by games played and points. I think this is set on the total points, but it's any players that are active. So if I just kind of open this up a little bit so you can see it. Yeah, there's some players that have left that have gone lower, but there's pro players in here. Got players playing in Poland. You got players that are playing in other NOL teams. And there's some teams that, you pull them up and you go into the complete list, and you can see that there's a lot of players that are playing over in Europe, playing pro hockey, playing in the East Coast League, Swiss Cup. It's really cool. You can go back and see where these are all active players. They're currently playing somewhere, and you can see where they're all at. So if you want to know if a coach says, oh, yeah, we put players into pro hockey, okay, I'll just go to Elite Prospects and do the homework myself. I don't need to rely on any other source than just going here and seeing what it says. Then I want to get into, all-time stats records, all-time for one season, franchise records, all that stuff's there too. That's, it's nice, but to me, I really don't know. I really don't know if I'm gaining much by knowing about franchise records if I'm a parent. But I can see year over year. That's interesting. The players from 2016 to 2020-21, maybe it's pandemic related, but they're 7 pounds lighter. And from 2 years ago, they're 8 pounds lighter. Who knew? But you can also see the age of the team. Pretty much stays standard across the board, almost 19 years old. 1 year they had players there. Now you can see nationalities where the players are coming from. It's just a chock full of information. It's one of the greatest sites and one of the best pieces of resources, I should say, you could have across the board. Now I want to show you something else that's a nice feature that most people. I put a 2 or 3 minute video out about this. The video didn't really get much traction, and I'm not really sure why it didn't. But let me throw up a program, and I'm just going to grab. I'm going to grab Niagara. Where are they at here? There they are. So this is Niagara University, and this is random. I did not do this ahead of time, so I don't know what I'm going to get. But what I can do here is when I pull up their roster, I see right away on top there it says 2020-21 roster. That's the current team roster. Now it says past rosters here, which means I can click on this button here and it'll give me last year, the year before, it'll give me a few. But what it also does is it goes in the opposite direction and gives me 21-22. Wow. You can go into the future. Yeah. It shows you what their future roster of prospects that have committed are. So now I can go on here And without going to the other website, individually, I can look on this team or any team I want and see who's committed from where. So I can see that next year, Niagara has 1 goalie, 3D, 4 forwards committed, mostly 2000s with 2 2001s to start next year. Now, if they would have had a 2022, 2023 commitment, when I clicked on there, that button would show up there. But since they don't have any committed that far out, they don't. They've only got the 21 and 22s on there. But isn't that cool? Now I can go on there, I can pull that up, I can find out information on who they've got committed already. So if I'm looking at their current roster and I want to know, okay, look, it looks like they've got an opening for a D 2 years out. Do they really have an opening for a D? Here it says they don't, I shouldn't say it that way. They've got 3 committed for next year. Now we'd have to go back and see how many players are currently rostered on the team as far as D and see how many they're losing. And then you kind of get a sense of what's going on. Now, the reason I bring this up is because you will see, this is the part that's so fascinating that most people can't pick up on because the information is not readily accessible and nobody is going to talk about it except here. All right, yours truly is going to tell you about this. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. Overcommitment. You go in and look at these colleges, and I'm not going to call anybody out. I'm not a fool. I want to stay in business, okay? I'm not going to single out a school. You can do the homework on that. There's only 60 some odd Division I schools out there right now. Go in there and look at their current roster, how many players they have, goalies, D, whatever. Then count their players that are seniors that are going to graduate. Then go on and see how many players they got committed for the upcoming season or 2 years. What do we want to do? You can do it for every year they've got coming up. Sometimes there are schools out there, it doesn't match up. In other words, okay, hey, look, if we're losing 3, maybe we even bring in 4 because we're losing 3 seniors, okay? And we know that, the odds of 4 guys making it through 4 years are pretty slim, so maybe we bring in 4 for the 3 slots. But there are schools out there. That have 1 graduating player, and they've got 6 recruits committed for next year, 6 for 1 position. Do your homework. It's important that you do your homework. Once again, not my job to call it out, call out individuals or call out schools. No. But I can call it the process, and I can call it how it works and the real deal on this. So what happens, and here's the dirty little secret on this, what happens is these players fall by the wayside. They get a phone call, they get an email, or they just don't get return calls from that college coach mid-season, the year before they're supposed to start in the fall. They had a great visit. They had a commitment to go there. They thought everything was great, and then it just isn't there anymore. Now, different schools, decommit their players different ways. Sometimes maybe you should go find a different school. Hey, look, we thought we had spot, we don't. Others make, there's a myriad of ways of how they handle it. Some just ignore players they committed to. Now, I don't personally know any players in that category, but I know families that's happened to over the course of the last 3-4 years. So be extremely careful if you do commit, and also be careful when you see the players that are committed. Just, hold in reserve that feeling of everybody's getting committed around me, because a lot of the players that were committed are going to find out almost too late that their commitment's really not there. And that's the sad part about it. And that's the business side of this that's just ugly and nobody's going to talk about. Nobody's going to tell you that. You're not going to read about that on USCHO, and you're not going to read about that on College Hockey Inc. or in the USA Hockey Magazine. Just isn't going to happen. So anyway, let's see what's going on in our comments. Let me get my cursor over on the right screen. I got multiple screens going here. And remember, folks, give me a little bit of a break tonight. I've been on the air. This is my 6th straight hour. So, but I still want to hear from you. Lisa's on. Nice to see you, Lisa. We've got a second question. This is one of those questions from a friend. A friend wanted me to ask, is it over the top to make a YouTube channel with highlights and a game video which you share with coaches. So yeah, I thought I answered that. I'll be glad to answer it. Once again, I see Jeff Fogelberg's in from Weston, Wisconsin. I thought for a minute there that it said Michigan, but Weston, Wisconsin. Where is Weston? Jeff, tell me where that's at. Put in the comments. I've been there for a lot of hockey recruiting and scouting, and I'm not sure I know where Weston's at. And it's probably right under my nose and probably near, it's probably a suburb of someplace I know, but I'd love to know where that's at. So the question, going back to it, is should you put a channel together? Absolutely. So the way to do this is create a YouTube. It doesn't have to be YouTube. It could be Vimeo or Vimeo, not Vimeo. Vimeo's that money thing that kids use. My kid always wants me to send him money on. Vimeo, Vimeo, I believe is Vimeo. It's like YouTube. More power as far as actually creating videos, where YouTube's more of a platform for videos. It might not have as much of a content creator side, although it's getting much better on that side. But so create a channel. Store your video there. Now on that channel, you can have private, you can have public, or you can have public that you just don't tell anybody about, meaning that it's open for anybody that comes to your channel. So I would highly recommend you put together a 1 minute to 1.5 minute video that highlights your player. And that's if you want to get to a prep school, you want to get to a junior team, or you want to get to a college. Taking advantage of YouTube video is great. Now the rule used to be, college coaches only want to see raw video. They only want to see the full game. They only want to see all that. Well, here's what's changed over the years. One is technology allows a coach to get that anytime he wants. A coach can pull up a junior game. He can essentially pull up film on any kid that's playing in the Tier 1 Elite, HPHL, playing in the Beast. You can get access to games, and if they don't have access to it, they can get a hold of the coach, and the coach can send them an email with the video that's kept up in the cloud somewhere pretty darn quick. So games are almost instantly accessible. So now, instead of you being responsible to get that raw video, and it used to be in the day, I used to get, as a college coach, I used to get a stack of the old VHS tapes that'd be sent in. We'd have a whole desk full of VHS tapes of kids all playing. We had to put them in and watch them and rewind them, and it was long and arduous just to try to pick out the kid on this grainy film and try to figure out which one. Was he number 7? You can't read their jerseys. I can't tell the 2s from the 7s or the 5s on this team. It was horrible. So now, because the video quality is better, they're accessible, coaches don't need that from you. What they need is some real quick, this is that, instant gratification of what you can do for me now. Okay, not a highlight reel of your goals, with AC/DC Hell's Bells playing, and mom getting on there with twirly things that she does in her creative content on Canva and slaps them on to make it look like you've got all kinds of bells and whistles on there. No, you can do a little bass music behind it. You can put a arrow pointing to you so they know which person to look at, but throw the rest of the high tech fringes. Keep them off of it. Keep it pretty simple. Minute and a half. Show them that you can skate. Show them that you can play your position. If you got a goal, throw a good goal on there. There's nothing wrong with that. But it can't be 5 goals when you've only had 5 goals in the last 4 years, and you put all 5 goals on it. No, don't try to make it look like you're a goal scorer if you're not a goal scorer. It's okay if you've only got 5 goals in 5 years. Put a goal on there showing how you scored. Put your best one on there. But show that you can play the body. Show that you can dig for a puck. Show that you can back check. So you can play your position. Put up, just a pop of each one of those. You got a nice hit? Put a nice hit on there. You're gritty? Show a gritty play. But get a minute and a half video together of just a broad array of good things you do, and put it up there. Send the link out to coaches. And when you send the link out, stagger them. Send a link out on Monday to Wisconsin. Tuesday, send it out to North Dakota. Wednesday, send it out here. Then you just go on and look at your stats to see if they opened up the video and they watch the video. Now, you hit the jackpot if I send it out to Wisconsin and I send it to the coaching staff and I see they watched it 5 times. That means whatever coach you sent it to said, hey, and got another coach to look at it, or he pulled it up several times. So that's a good or a bad. Now, either it's really good and they're interested in you, or they're sharing it around virally. Like, can you believe this? No, I'm kidding. That probably won't happen. But the bottom line is, yes, video and making short videos and making a channel. So here's why that question's a little bit deeper and it's a little bit better than you think it is. That's a really good question. Because now you got that little blurb up there. If you want to put a 4-minute video up, or you want to put one of your game highlights up, or some others up there, you just have it on that channel there. So when they went to the video and they watched it, now they're in Vimeo or they're in YouTube and they see the rest of your videos. If they want to explore more about you, it's there. Just be careful on what you're putting up. Make sure it's stuff that you want them to see. And don't do it on your family channel. Don't do it on the one that's got your TikTok dances and all that kind of stuff. It can't. Don't mix and mingle things. Keep it very, very much just a recruiting channel, just for recruiting and coaches' purposes. That's it. And you want insight? Have your current coach look at the video, see what he says. If you use a power skating instructor, ask last year's coach. You got a brother that plays hockey? Ask him what he thinks. You've got a advisor. Of course, you want your advisor to look at it. Okay, but remember, advisors are advisors. Okay, unless you've got a high-end guy that's going to get you into the NHL, listen to everything your advisor has to say and weigh it off against your reasonable judgment. Okay, advisors are not there to dictate what direction you must go in. They're to give you good, sound advice, and most of them do a very good job of that, giving you good, sound advice. But make sure you triangulate your information and use your reasonable judgment if you're using an advisor, especially when you're doing video and things like that. Okay, let's see what else we got coming in here. I'm a parent of an 08 and new to hockey. What is the best path into juniors, high school club, or AAA? We have a private high school is already trying to get him in their school. He currently plays AA. Okay, so I would suggest a few things. One is I've got a ton of video content that's already up that'll help you. I would absolutely jump into some of our older archive stuff that'll help quite a bit. In a nutshell, you're playing AA hockey right now. The whole name of the game, even to get into college club, high school club, or AAA, is you got to produce at the level you're at, and then you want to try to ascend to the next level. The next level for you at that age, because you've still got time, could be a better AA team first, okay, and then the transition into the AAA or to a quality high school or prep team. With that limited amount of information, the only thing I can say is watch some of my videos, especially, it sounds silly to watch one on this subject, but there's one that says junior polls and rankings are worthless. Watch that video. And the reason I want you to watch that video is every league, and one of the points I make in there is every league of hockey works the same way. The winning top teams always get the most ascension to the next level. Okay, period. Across the board. Now, the anomaly is probably going to be this year because the pandemic has really put some helter-skelter stuff into the whole junior hockey market. You've got teams in last place that have the most Division I commits in some leagues, and you're like, what the, it doesn't make sense. It's pandemic related. Historically, every single year, the teams that are in first place have the players that ascend to the next level. So if I'm in AA, my jump may not be right to a Tier 1 team or a AAA team. My jump might be to a better AA team or a better AA opportunity with the top team. So part of it is just ascending up to where I can move to the next level. So because you're young, moving up to the next level, maybe to a AA team or to a AAA team, I can't answer that. But really, it's reverse engineering things. I use this phrase a lot, and it really does make sense. Try to look at it from where you want to go. And it's like anything else in life. I might set the goal to be a doctor, and I want to be a doctor of, I want to be a brain surgeon. Yeah, okay. I know it's a far stretch. I know it's really, really playing with the imagination to believe that. But anyway, I want to be a brain surgeon. So I set off on my track to be a brain surgeon. I know that from age 12 on, when I decided I wanted to be a brain surgeon, I've got lots of college to go to. I've got to go to medical school. I've got all these different things to do, residencies and everything. Somewhere along the path, I fall in love with orthopedics and the bone structure. So I veer off and I become a bone doctor, okay, an orthopedic surgeon. Does that mean I failed? No. Does it mean that I became a brain surgeon, the ultimate goal that I had? I didn't get there. Maybe I became a physical therapist right after college instead of going on to medical school. But that path, because I had a goal, got me going somewhere. So when I say you got to set a goal, remember, dreams are built by goals, goals are built by plans. Dreams, goals, plans. It's that simple. I got to have, if I'm dreaming to be a brain surgeon, I've got to have a goal to get into a good college. To get into a good college, I got to have a plan on how I'm going to get to a good college. Reverse engineer back. He might not make it to an NCAA Division I school at this point. I can't tell. I don't know your son. But I can tell you this. If he sets a goal there and then works backwards and he finds out that because he's at U8, he's in 08, the next step for him to do is to play Tier 1 Elite or to play AYHL, depending on what market you're in. Well, maybe that's the goal. In the next 2 years, I want to be good enough to make an AYHL team playing out of the East Coast. Maybe it's playing in Chicago, playing for one of the HPHL teams. I want to be able to make Team Illinois. Okay, that's my goal, and that's what I'm going to set my goal at. So reverse engineer it back from there, and then that's going to help you a lot. In my opinion, that's going to help you a lot figure out how to get to the next level, because that's a real broad one. It's going to be a little bit harder to actually give you a exact path, but it can be done. It can be done. Okay, let's see what we got here. I can't seem to find any data on this. What percent of D1 verbal commits actually turn into an NLI? Well, that's kind of what I was pointing out to you. I don't know if anybody's ever counted them up because nobody talks about that. Nobody actually tracks that. Even I don't have a stat sheet on that says, here's all the kids that verbally committed and here's how many that actually showed up, or NLI and then actually showed up and actually ever wore a jersey. But I'm letting you know that it's something to be very, you start getting recruited, I'd be looking at that and going, okay, gee, it looks like every year they sign 6 left wings and they always lose 1 or 2, but only 1 or 2 start as a freshman class. Well, what happens to those other 4 guys? So I think it's important to know that happens, and I think it's important to expose that a little bit. Not that I'm trying to expose any individual team. I'm trying to let you know that it does happen so that you can be prepared for it when it does happen. I hope that helps a little bit, but I don't think anybody's tracking that across the board. And I'd love to see. Hey, you want to give me a call or DM me, and we can chat. Maybe you start doing that, and we'll put out a newsletter just with that, and I'll let you put that under your name. Okay. Okay. Let's see what Lisa has to say here. Lisa says, let me get Lisa up here. Okay, I am an 04. I'm an 04 trying to make a push for D1. I have opportunities to play in the NCDC next year. If my goal is D1, do you think this is a good route? Would this route help me graduate to the USHL or maybe the no? Okay, so the question is, you're an 04. I think it's good that you're looking or you got opportunities to play in the NCDC as an 04. If you can play in the NCDC as an 04, that's pretty good. The NCDC is not a bad league. It's not a league. Remember, for the most part, the NCDC wants to be a closed circuit. They've got their U14, 16, 18, and their levels of junior up to the NCDC. They want to capture, create, and house everything until you leave. Okay, they don't actively promote players to leave their league. In other words, if I'm playing in any other league, if I'm playing in the North American Hockey League and the USHL comes calling, the North American Hockey League team's not going to have any problem for me going to the USHL. If I'm playing in the EHL, they might try to the coaches might try to talk you out if you're leaving for the North American Hockey League, but probably not. There's not really that much movement from the EHL to the North American Hockey League. Now there is movement, not as much as you think, but there is movement from the NCDC to the North American Hockey League, especially now that the North American Hockey League is basically they walked in and they started peeing on fence poles all over the NCDC's backyard. And what I mean by that is it used to be there was no markings at all from the null outside of a very small footprint that stopped, somewhere in the Midwest, with the exception of Johnstown, maybe. But all of a sudden, now you've got New Jersey, you've got Maine, you've got all these programs that are on the East Coast. Now you're starting to see some NCDC infiltration of kids that leave the NCDC and go to the null, and the null accepting them. It used to be they would not really have any interest in them because the talent level wasn't there. So the reason I say it's a good opportunity is not because it's the better of your options. It's because as an 04, once again, let's do this. I did this a couple hours ago. I'll pull this back up. Let's go to the Magic Elite Prospects Board. And when we go to the Magic Elite Prospects Board, we are going to put my glasses back on that don't fit because they're just reading glasses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the North American Hockey League up in here again. And I'm going to put up in this, once again, you can do this at home. Yes, you can do this at home. Once again, I'm using the paid version, so I'm not sure what actually shows up on the rest. But if I go down here into player stats, see this little area here called, all I did was in the Elite Prospects, I typed in North American Hockey, I typed in NAHL. Now I went down to here where it says player stats. Now I'm going to put in, you are in 04, I believe you said. So I'm going to put in 2003s because that's this year, what an 04 will be next year. So what I'll do is under birth year, right here where it says player details, all I'm going to do is I'm going to type in 2003. Okay. Now I'm going to hit the filter. So now what it's going to do for me is it's going to pull up a list of all the 03s that are in the league right now. The hundreds. Oh, so you're telling me that the 03s only have 48 players that have played in the North American Hockey League this year? But it gets better. Some of these kids are only players that were pulled up for 3 games, 2 games, 1 game. As far as 03s that have actually seen a lot of ice time, you're talking about games played. Let me see if I can hit this and see if it'll. Oh, it will. Good. All right, now these are players that have got. Remember the right now the North American Hockey League I think is most teams are between 30 and 33 games played already. Okay, so you've got 11 players, 12, 13. Let's give it 15 players, 15, 16 players that have actually got decent amount of games in. I'm not sure if I got 13 games in or 12 games in out of a 30 game season, I would be feeling pretty happy as a player, getting 1 out of 3 games in. But go down to the bottom. They've got a list here of 17 players, 18 players that have gotten 5 or less games in out of that 48 players. Okay, so the opportunities just aren't there that much right now for 03s. Now this is a league of 600 plus players. I'm looking at goalies, 03 goalies. You've got 3 kids that have gotten time as a goalie. And so if you're a goalie, the opportunities are even less than forwards right now in this league. Yeah, there's 10 kids that have actually been on a roster, but one he didn't even get a 0. And I don't know anything about Jackson. He could be a great young player. But some of these kids just aren't even seeing time right now. And it's not because they're not great players. It's just because this is a competitive league. It's an extremely competitive league, and they're all young. So compare that to the next year. So instead of 03s, if we look at 02s, which 02s are even considered young in this league. So if I go back up here and instead of 03, I type in 02, and let the magic happen and pull up the O2s. Remember, in the North American Hockey League, O2s are still young. Now, that O2 list isn't that long either, okay? I want to make sure that filtered it. Nope, it didn't. So I got to apply that filter one more time. Sorry about that. Hitting enter didn't work. So this should have taken me over to my O2s. So my O2 list is longer, but we're still, you're only talking about 184 kids out of a 600 league that, remember, 600 are currently rostered. There's probably been 800 or 900 that have filtered through because, you've got rosters that have used 45 or 50 players this year already. Now, here's the magic to this is where we hit the total games played. Now we start looking at the ones that really haven't seen ice. You got 30 kids out of that 180 that have never actually played in a game. Okay, that's that zero whoops, let's go to game played. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Hit that again. Here, you look at the ones that have just been called up for a game or two or a few games. There's 50 out of 180 that got 8. 8, 9, 10 games. You're at 70. So you're getting up towards half the list, and you're still, a third of the season, these kids bounce around or sit in the stands. So it's just not a young league. So getting back to that question, Lisa, about is it an opportunity that you should take? Well, you got to weigh the NCDC against not the NAL and not the USHL, which are your ultimate goals, but what catapults you the best. So if he's got an opportunity with a beast team, or if he's got an opportunity with a Tier 1 elite team, if he's got an opportunity with a HPHL team, let's say the Chicago Mission. I'm making things up here. If you got an opportunity with one of those teams, now look at the team that's offering you something in the NCDC. How many of their players really went to play inside the North American Hockey League? Once again, I can go on to the filter and easily, let's get this age thing out of here. Let me delete that out. Now, if you look up here, I can go has played, and I can actually type in NCDC. Look at that. I can put the NCDC in as a filter to see how many players have played in the NCDC. Now, you got to do your homework here because they might say they played in the NCDC and they played one game, or they played 2 games and got cut, or they played 3 years. This doesn't tell you that. This gives you a list of the current players that are NAL roster. The 72 kids have had some kind of experience in the NCDC. Okay, so now I go up here and I want to go, and this is not apples to apples, but this is just you trying to do your homework. Now I can go up here and I can go Tier 1 Elite. I think I can pull up Tier 1 Elite U and 04, so let's use 18U. Now I pull up the 18U Tier 1 Elite filter. Now I had 70, 80 players that were NCDC kids. Now I want to see what comes over from Tier 1 Elite. I got 113. So there's not much difference, but now it comes down to looking about how many of these kids really played from the NCDC, how many of the Tier 1 Elites have really played, and what opportunities, team to team. I got one NCDC team that wants me. I got a Tier 1 Elite team that wants me. Let's look at those actual teams and see how much they produced to get players to the next level. That's where your homework comes into this. And so it's not an easy answer to saying what's best, because your best opportunity could be the worst opportunity for somebody else. Your best opportunity in the NCDC could be phenomenal. My kid might get an offer from the last place team in the NCDC that's never placed a kid into the NAL. Okay, it's apples and oranges. It depends on the team, it depends on the circumstances, and it depends on your player's level to work and market himself. So I hope that helps a little bit. Look, folks, any other questions want to come in? I'll be glad to stick around a little bit to answer them. I've been on this for 6 hours today, and not that I want to go. I just want to make sure that I'm giving you information you can use. And since literally we've had hundreds and hundreds of people over the course of the day already have questions answered, if you don't have questions, don't feel like you got to stick around. If you got some questions and this is helpful, jump on, throw me a comment, throw me another question. I'll be glad to jump on and answer whatever I can right now. I'll stick around for a minute or 2 or 3 here, and just ramble on for a second and see if anything else comes in as far as questions. If not, it's been a phenomenal day. Thank you for joining us on this marathon. 6 hours of straight hockey talk, and it's been unbelievable. Unbelievable that so many of you actually joined us and stayed with us and actually interacted and made this possible, because honestly, there's no way I could have talked hockey as much as I love talking hockey. There's no way I could have talked hockey all night long without having questions and interaction, and it happened for all 6 straight hours. So thank you. God bless you all for making this a lot more fun for me and keeping this rolling. And once again, I ask so little of you, but could you please join our Facebook discussion group? Could you please go to our Facebook page and like and follow it? Can you please just pop over to YouTube, Junior Hockey Advisor? Just please go over there and maybe subscribe. Maybe just subscribe to it. Man, that'd be very helpful for us. Anything you can do to help build this awesome group that has so much information and so much energy. The discussion group handles itself. Most of the questions are on there are answered in a very positive direction by really good hockey people. Remember, that discussion group has hundreds of industry professionals that are in there. You've got BCHL coaches and general managers. You've got NAL coaches and general managers. You've got USHL owners and general managers, coaches of all levels, people that have played in the NHL, current people that are in pro hockey, all either on it or monitoring what we're doing there and giving me insight. Sometimes they don't want to come on directly. You do get some of the top dogs. You'll see every once in a while, a NAL guy or a USHL guy, get right out there and say something and support what we're doing or what we're talking about. So the collective group, there's so much information there. Take advantage of it. Keep asking great questions. And all right, I got one more question. I'll do one more, and then we're going to call it a night. But I had fun tonight, folks. So Dylan asked, could you confirm Michigan Tier 1 only allows one non-resident on a team? I don't think, Dylan, I don't think that's true at all. And let's do this. I can answer that right away. I'll just pull it up. We can answer that question fairly easily. I know for a fact that we were just on this earlier in the day, and let's pick I picked on, who did I pick on earlier? I think I picked on Bell. Let's pick on Oakland, and I have not looked at any Oakland rosters. So I'll pull up the Oakland Junior Grizzlies, and I don't have my glasses on, so. All right, I'll pick on the Oakland Junior Grizzlies. I don't want their 14, I want their 16U, so that doesn't make it easy. Let me put in Tier 1 Elite. It'll be easier. So it's a good question, and I can answer this. I guarantee you I can answer this. Okay, let's grab 16U because that's the most popular and most competitive of their levels. Okay, now that I've got that up, let's grab a Michigan team. And like I said, I've already picked on Bell today. Let's grab Victory Honda 16U. And let's just go in and look. Indianapolis. They've got one. They've got Ohio. They've got two. So they don't show their whole roster, but they've got at least two on their roster. I know for a fact that you'll see 4, 5, sometimes more. And what also happens in the Detroit market especially, let's pull another one up. Just I'll pick on Bell. I picked on their 18, so I'll pick on their 16. I'm not picking on them. I'm just, see, they're not putting them all on there. But Louisiana, Kentucky, so they've got at least two. So it's more than one. I know that when my son played 16 and 18, we were from New York, and the roster had each year had he played 1 year for Oakland, he played 1 year for Victory Honda, 3, 4, 5, each 4 or 5 on each year, each team. But another thing that happens is you'll get families like a few years ago in Little Caesars, the Grimaldi family, the Rocco Grimaldi's family, who ended up playing Division I college hockey, great player. I think he's got a good pro career going right now. He started out in California. The family moved into the market, and you'll see a lot of teams, Honey Baked Little Caesars, where the whole family will move in, or mom will move in. So their address will show up as a Detroit address or a Grosse Pointe address or Bloomington or Bloomfield, address. But it's not, they're in an apartment or the family really moved there. The mom and dad got jobs in the market. So you've got two different kinds. Yes, the number is much more than one. I know there is a cap, and it might be a cap by league or it might be a cap by organization too. I know Victory Honda is a little bit more stringent than what the state is. And there's a couple other ones, but that one's fairly easy to look up. You can look up on the Maha site and figure that out and what they allow in the state. But it is definitely more than one. I hope that helps. Great question. Thank you for throwing that out there. Okay, I got one more last one. Let's see, last one here. Let me get my mug back up here and get rid of the. What info do you have on the pre-draft Chowder Cup showcase? Hey, I've said this a lot of times. Pre-draft and Chowder Cup, it needs to be in your nomenclature. It's got to be part of what you talk about. It's got to be what you do. When you start getting to the age to do pre-draft Chowder Cups, look, these used to be looked at as fun events that you just went and played at. Then they went through a phase where it's for kids that wanted to go to prep. And it was all prep. That was, years ago. Then it became very highly scouted by Division I and Division III coaches, where you'd show up for, a Chowder Cup or a pre-draft, and you'd see, you guys all know what college coaches look like. Black coat, black pants, black shoes, cup of coffee, okay? You definitely get the black pants, black coat, black shoes if it's a Canadian coach coaching an American school, because every coach in Canada, that's part of going through Hockey Canada's training program. You have to wear black shoes, black pants, and black runners usually, black pants, black coat, Tim Hortons coffee, okay? So you know where they're at. You get 10, 15, 20, 30 black coats, they're all coaches or scouts or recruiting. You want to really be the oddball coach. Wear a bright red or bright blue coat and sit in the middle of that whole group. You'll stand out like a sore thumb. But you don't see as many coaches at these events now. What you do have is the respectability of these programs has changed. It used to be anybody that coached one of these teams was a dad. You're coaching the Chowder Cup, it was a dad. Might have really good talent, might have D1 talent kids on the team, but it was a dad. Or it was an assistant coach from the U18 team, or it was the assistant coach from the prep team. There was not a lot of emphasis put on coaching and recruiting these teams. They were usually thrown together by the players of a dad. Now, these teams, for the most part, are professional organizations. They're for-profit teams that they're coached by people that build and recruit these teams all year long. All you got to do is go and look at the archive teams that have been there and see who participated. Every one of those sites, Chowder Cup, the pre-draft, they put up the archives of who is in there every year, what teams play every year, and what coaches are there every year. Look at it. You'll see that there's some groups that are always in the top 4, top 5 teams that are there. They're there year in and year out. Those people have gained respectability within the coaching ranks. They might not be great coaches. They might not be really coaches. I've told you the story before. One of the guys that runs one of the better programs out there isn't really a coach. He coaches a spring team. But he's a great spring recruiter, and he puts fabulous talent together, and he does a wonderful job with his program. But is he going to get a job coaching in NCAA ranks, or is he going to be a head coach for a junior team? No, he's not that level of coach. But he knows talent, he can pick talent, and he knows the game, and he puts these wonderful teams together. There's a lot of those guys now. There's respectability. So you might not see as many coaches sitting in the stands now from colleges or even junior programs, but now they'll call up and say, hey, what do you got going on? Who's on your team? Oh, I got this kid. What are you looking for? Left wing. I want a strong power forward left wing. Okay, hey, look, I got this guy and this guy. And I saw this guy and this guy. So now colleges might not be there in person as much as they used to. You'll still get college coaches there. You'll still get a lot, but not the numbers you used to get, because now they've got the direct conduit to the coach of the program or the owners of these teams, these spring teams, and that's where they're getting their information. So honestly, you're getting even more connection because those guys that are coaching those teams are around those players for 3, 4 tournaments, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row. They've got the same kids. They know some of these kids really, really well versus a coach that comes in and tries to watch a game over the weekend. So I hope that helps a little bit. They're good things. They're not bad things at all. Um, hey, it's a great comment to leave on. Wish we found you 10 plus years ago. Uh, yeah, I wish I would have been around doing this. First of all, the technology would not have allowed this 10 plus years ago. I don't even know if I think I was still using a rotary phone 10 plus years ago. So uh, with that, I wish you all a great night. Thank you so much. We did it, folks. We got through 6 straight hours of talking hockey, and I'm still alive and I still have a voice. So thank you so much. Have a great night. Please come and join our groups if you're not part of our group. Share this with people. Let people know. Help us grow this whole family so we can get it big enough. The whole idea is to get it big enough so that we pull on the sponsorship groups we need so we can keep this going. Because without sponsorship here pretty soon, this will go away and I won't be able to keep doing this. So thank you. Have a great night. Take care, everybody.